Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashman Adishri Manamendra. As you can see on the screen, today we'll be talking about disadvantages of eating junk food. So first, let's take a look at the outline of the presentation. First, we'll be talking about the background of fast food, and then we'll be moving on to diseases related with eating junk food, and finally, we will be talking about the conclusion of this presentation. So first, let's talk about the background of fast food. Now, the term fast food is used to describe food with high calories and fats and oils. Now, the first brand of fast food started back in 1896 and became the best selling candy product within a year. So, now with that in our mind, let's move on to the next slide, which is diseases related with eating junk food. Now, the first disease is you are exposed to type 2 diabetes, and also eating junk food can trigger digestive problems, as well as eating an excessive amount of this junk food can cause fatigue and weaknesses. And finally, you are in risk of getting heart diseases. So let's talk about more in detail about these diseases, shall we? So first, let's talk about exposure to type 2 diabetes. Now, a healthy diet gives a steady supply of glucose, while these junk foods gives us an unbalanced amount of glucose to our body. Now, this unbalanced amount of glucose leads to diabetes. And not only diabetes, this can also lead to obesity. Now, let's move on to our next slide, which is triggering digestive problems. Now, people who are actually addicted to eating junk food suffer from a disease known as gastroesophageal reflux disease. The main reason for the occurrence of this disease is the amount of oil in these fast foods. Sometimes the spices added to this fast food or junk food are another reason for these digestive problems. Therefore, as a country that exports spices, we might be used to these spices, but however, foreign people are not used to eating too much of these spices, therefore can be exposed to digestive problems. So with that in our mind, let's move on to the next slide, which is causing fatigue and weaknesses. Now we all know that junk foods lacks essential nutrients. Therefore, eating many fast foods or junk foods make us weak. Now, if we continue eating these fast foods, we could suffer from chronic fatigue. Therefore, it is best to avoid junk food. So now let's move on to the next slide. It is about risks of getting heart diseases. Fast foods are packed with fats that affect triglyceride. Now, what is triglyceride? Triglyceride is a disease that occurs due to the consumption of fats and oils. Therefore, remember these fast foods are packed or full of these fats and oils. And sometimes eating these fast foods can increase cholesterol, which blocks our arteries to our heart. Therefore, you are again in risk of getting a heart disease. So now we have reached the end of our presentation. Now let's talk about the conclusion. Now first, we talked about that foods or fast foods are bad for our health. And then we talked about there are many diseases related to this eating fast food, for example, exposure to type 2 diabetes, then it can trigger digestive problems and also causing fatigue and weaknesses, and you are in risk of getting heart diseases. Therefore, considering all these facts, I can safely conclude that avoiding eating this fast food is good for our health. Thank you everyone for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something new. If you are interested in getting this PowerPoint, please reach out to me using the email address given in the description. Have a nice day.